Week 1 of the college football season is here. The bands are getting ready. The cheerleaders are getting ready. Heck, the mascots are ready. But are you ready to win some money with us here on the Sharp Edge? Now, before we get into the games for Week 1 that we like, I want to take a look at the odds to win each of the Power 5 conferences. Now, the favorites are the favorites for the reasons that you would expect. They're overly talented. They're head and shoulders above everyone else. In the SEC, it's Alabama. We know that. Even though Georgia and Auburn have a chance, I'm not going to go against the Crimson Tide. Same thing in the Pac-12, where Washington is just better than everybody else, and Clemson in the ACC, same thing there. But in the Big Ten, Ohio State is the favorite, and that's not the team I'm picking to win the conference. I look at Wisconsin. They're the third favorite right now, and I think that they will win the Big Ten. I'm not saying they're going to the college football playoff. Slow down there. I'm just saying to win the Big Ten, I like Wisconsin's odds, because if you look at the west side of the Big Ten, that division is so weak. Wisconsin has no competition. They will get to the Big Ten title game, and then all they have to do is beat one of the teams from the East, and they are your Big Ten conference champions. Plus, Ohio State, as talented as they are, I feel like there could be a hiccup along the way for them. Maybe they're a one-loss team. Maybe they face Wisconsin in the Big Ten title game, but I'll go with the Badgers to win that conference. And then, this is an interesting play. In the Big 12, Lincoln Riley's Oklahoma Sooners are the favorites, and they most likely will win this conference. But look at West Virginia. Will Grier is the truth at quarterback for them, and they could have a one-loss season along with Oklahoma leading into the final game of the regular season when those two teams meet, and that game is going to be in Morgantown. So I look at West Virginia to win that game and win the Big 12 conference. Now let's get to the Week 1 matchups. We'll start on Friday, where the number 4 team in the nation, the Wisconsin Badgers, are hosting Western Kentucky. It's a high line, according to our friends at DraftKings Sportsbook, but I still like the Badgers to cover this number. There's no team in the country that plays their style more so than Wisconsin. And what I mean by that is that they don't easily get disrupted by what other teams try to do against them. Western Kentucky has an interesting pass offense this year. They're going to want to throw the ball around the field. But Wisconsin controls the game. They'll run you to death. Defensively, they'll stop you. And even though the number's really high, I do expect Wisconsin to win this one going away. Go with the Badgers on Friday night. On Saturday, let's start with the Ohio State Buckeyes. And yes, there's been a lot of turmoil within this program over the past couple of weeks with the whole Urban Meyer situation. But that's no reason to bet against them when they host Oregon State. This, again, is a high line, but the Buckeyes will be a team on a mission. They're going to want to send a message to the rest of the country that this Urban Meyer situation is not going to be a distraction. Plus, little inside information here, this suspension is only for the first 3 games of the season. Starting next week, Urban Meyer is going to be with this team during practice. He's going to be with them during the week. That's not going to affect their game preparation. And if there is an in-game coaching decision that has to be made, it's not going to be interim head coach Ryan Day. It's going to be Greg Schiano, the guy who has the head coaching experience that'll be making those game time decisions and clock management decisions. Look for Ohio State to send a message here on Saturday. Take the Buckeyes and lay the points. Speaking of turmoil, Maryland has gone through their own this preseason, and I think theirs might be too much for them to overcome against a team that's more talented than them in Texas. Tom Herman needed a year or so to develop his program, and that's what last year was. This year, the Texas Longhorns are ready to get back into the national spotlight. They're laying less than 2 touchdowns. Look for them to win this game on the road by more than 2 touchdowns. Take the Longhorns. Next, we go to probably the marquee game of the day. It's a shame it's not on primetime, but it's the Chick-fil-A kickoff game at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Auburn against Washington. 2 top 10 teams. It's going to be an incredible atmosphere down in Atlanta. The roof's going to open and close, and because it's Saturday, Chick-fil-A is going to be open, so everyone's going to be happy. I love Auburn in this game. Why? Because I think Jarrett Stidham is one of the top quarterbacks in the country. I know you have some of the Heisman favorites like Bryce Love of Stanford, Tua Tagovailoa for Alabama, if in fact he is their starting quarterback all season long, but I like Jarrett Stidham to make enough plays that Auburn becomes a dangerous team this season. Look for Auburn to defeat Washington despite the fact that you never know what you're going to get from a Gus Malzahn team. One day they're the best team in the country, one day they're like the 25th best team in the country. And we all know how well coached Washington is. They return a lot of players like Gaskin and Browning, but I like Auburn to win this game in Atlanta. Now, the primetime game worth watching on Saturday night is Notre Dame hosting Michigan in a top 25 matchup. Sure, Alabama plays at the same time, but they're going to blow out Louisville. Don't worry about that. Let's take a look at this Notre Dame team against Michigan. I think this game comes down to the quarterback position. Michigan's got Shea Patterson, and he is arguably the most talented quarterback that Jim Harbaugh has had for the Wolverines. On the other side, Brian Kelly's going with Brandon Wimbush as his starting quarterback, and Wimbush can make enough plays with both his arm and his legs that I think Notre Dame has the edge here at home. Plus, I like the fact that this game means more to Notre Dame than it does for Michigan. Michigan can drop this game and still have a very good season. They could be a one-loss Big Ten champion. Heck, they could be a two-loss Big Ten champion. But if Notre Dame has any hopes of making the college football playoff, they cannot lose this game to Michigan on Saturday. So go with the Irish. Last but not least, on Sunday, we have another top 25 matchup when Miami take on LSU. In my opinion, this is a make or break season for Ed Orgeron. Now, LSU has enough talent on defense that they'll be competitive in every game they play. For Miami, everyone knows how good they are defensively, especially in the secondary, and that takeover chain is going to get a lot of usage this year. But offensively, I don't think they have enough firepower to win enough games this season that they're going to be relevant in the top 10 of the rankings. I like LSU to not just cover the spread, but win it outright. Now, those are just some of the games that we like for the first week of the college football season. I stick to the top 25 games because those are the games that you and I are going to be watching on every Saturday. I'm not going to bog you down with teams like UMass or Duquesne. Nice win for the Minutemen last week, though. They covered the spread there, in case you were wondering. But we're just going to stick to the top 25 because those are the teams we know and love and root for. If you have an opinion or if you just like to comment, be sure to hit us up on all of our social media channels and share with your friends, and be sure to tune in each and every week as we give you the top plays for not just college football, but starting next week, the NFL. This is The Sharp Edge, brought to you by My New Philly, where something's always new and everything's always Philly.